Good morning. It's Tom Padula from TomPadulaTV on YouTube and Insegna Booksellers. And today is a very, very important day because this is World History by Tom Padula on Facebook. And it's the last podcast for this series. Series one, but programs 1 to 65. Now, why this? Well, because we're coming to a very a break, if you like, in the sense of, in an historical sense, with the travelers in the 15th century, 1400 to 1499. There were people, there had been Marco Polo, etc. But that particular century there saw a lot of people going out into the world trying to get from Europe to India via Africa, because there was problems with the Ottoman Empire coming up. There's a lot of problems with commerce. And people wanted to discover how they could bring the spices from India to Europe. So can we go it another way? And once this happened, then really the world opened up to trade. The new discoveries of the continents, the Americas, and also in 1492, but also Australia. There were some talks about the Great Southern Land by that time. So this is a good time to stop and reflect on what I've done up to now, and I will come back to world history with a series 2, starting from this 14th century, so the 15th century, the 1400s, and moving forward, but tackling then history, world history, in a more comparative way. In other words, if this is happening here, what's happened once we visited over there, and what are the repercussions in terms of civilization? So this is, I want to think about this a little bit more, and that's why today is the final one. Now, I have selected, last week we did the early discoveries, but this week here, okay, early Spanish and Portuguese discoveries, etc. This time, let's see what the English and the French did in this time, okay? So that's that. I will also continue this time with China, and with Africa, and with before the invasion again. Before the invasion, I will bring in other material in series 2. All right, so let's finish off this particular podcast. And so on Thursdays, I won't be here for a while, but my times, whenever I pick up again, it'll always be 11:25 to 12:30, but I'll be a bit more flexible in terms of time of when I actually run the new series. I will announce it, and I'll take it. I'll do them in blocks of 20 maybe, or 30 depending, whatever. Okay, so here we go. Early English and French explorers. England and France also sponsored early expeditions to find a westward passage to India and China. But for over a century, neither country followed up its initial discoveries. The Italian John Cabot made 2 voyages for Henry VII in 1497 and 1498. So the parsimonious English king did not finance the expeditions, though they were made in his name, but instead gave Cabot £10 and a title of nobility when he returned. Big effort. For this small outlier, England laid claim to all of North America, and on the basis of Cabot's discoveries. So it's a bit like our artists, when they are really successful, and if they don't get anything, it's not fair. But when they're not, well, it's different. The English made further futile attempts to find a northwest passage through icy waters north of Canada, and then sent expeditions to the northeast. One of these, under Chancellor, reached Archangel and went overland to Moscow. Wow. The result was the establishment of a profitable trade between England and Russia. Disappointed in not finding a route to India, the English turned to robbing Spanish and Portuguese treasure fleets. They became pirates. I said, all right, well, these people here have been given all these lands. We can't access them according to them, so we're going to let them do the work and then we'll rob them. Why not? A bit like, the old Vikings philosophy. The first French overseas expedition was led by the Italian Verrazzano, who in 1524 explored the coast of Newfoundland for Francis I. In 1534, Jacques Cartier began a series of voyages to find the much sought-after Northwest Passage to India. He travelled up the St. Lawrence River as far as the present Montreal, and thus gave France a claim against England to part of North America. However, early attempts by Frenchmen to establish settlements on the St. Lawrence were failures. Thus, in the space of a few decades, intrepid adventurers backed by the four westernmost nations of Europe explored a great part of the unknown world and took the first effective step in establishing the one world of modern times. Meanwhile, their discoveries had important results on the economy of Europe. I'll read you a little note. Oh, no, this about that. No, I'm not going to do that. But what I will do, I'll say, as a result of these voyages, there was a commercial revolution. So there's a lot of trade, extra trade happening. New business techniques were invented, were used. Again, the early capitalistic system, that's all right. That's that. Then, what else was there? Henry the Navigator, Prince of Portugal, left it much to make the age of exploration possible. So we have to look after this guy, Henry the Navigator, Prince of Portugal. Not bad. Also, the overseas nations that traded with these unknown lands became very, very rich because they were just robbing the locals wherever they went. Gold, spices, whatever. So, and also, they also spread their land, the land that they controlled, because they had extra powers than the natives and then the locals, the indigenous people. They just said, well, this land is mine. Whereas the others thought, we live on the land owns us because we die, etc. But they didn't realise just what powerful governments the Europeans had at the time. By saying that these lands are ours, they went in there in a very arrogant way and did what they had to do. They did so. That's another thing, the Portuguese Empire. Portugal is a small piece of land in Europe, yet it had all of Brazil to its name. Spain is the same. And so is the English. And so the Dutch. So we have all these small nations of Europe becoming the rulers of huge tracts of land around the world. Spain's vast empire. Holland is a colonial power. Beginnings of the British Empire. the French colonial empire. So they all became empires. Well, the conclusion was, in 1500, the people of Europe were confined to a subcontinent of 4 million square miles. They lived on their own resources, supplemented by slight trade with Africa and Asia. Within the next century and a half, Europeans explored the rest of the world and conquered, occupied and exploited a large part of it. New goods and much gold flowed into Europe, changing and enriching its economy, pulling the scent of trade from the Mediterranean to the Atlantic seaboard. The geographic and commercial revolution raised Portugal, Spain and Holland to short periods of great wealth and power. Slower to capitalise on the geographic revolution, but more successful in the long run, were England and France. By the end of the 17th century, these two great powers were ready to lock horns in another 100 Years' War. This one to be fought around the globe for colonial supremacy on a worldwide scale. So that's it. The French and the English became very powerful, and they fought each other for the advantages that they could get from colonialism. So that's it. That's it. That's a good place to stop. As I said, I'll come back to this, and but in the meantime, all of the history, like with the Italian lessons, will be on YouTube. Now, here and there are some programs, for some reason, they're not, we can't transfer them, etc. But it doesn't matter. The bulk of the work will be on YouTube as well. And Insegna.com will give you, in the blog section, will give you the rest. We'll give you these lessons, podcasts, in order from 1 to 65. Okay, so that's it for this one here. Now we got to the next one, which is China becoming always more powerful, returning to its original power. By the way, I'm enjoying a lot the various series on China, on Chinese history, on Netflix. And I'm very glad that I've joined them to get to know visually more about the historical periods that I read in the books. But can I say that the two things can go together? You can use the visuals to help you understand better the written, and you use the written to better understand where you're at in the visual. Okay, let's have a look at China now. China, records on the western region of the great Tang Empire. I stopped at the Tang dynasty, Han dynasty. Then there's the Tang. I mentioned it last week, I think, but I'll come back to the dynasties again. Today I'm not covering it. I'm just going to cover this Xuanzang's Journey to the West, a very famous novel, apparently, historical document. After he returned to China, Xuanzang wrote a book titled Records on the Western Regions of the Great Tang Empire. The book records in detail the different traditions and customs, products, climates, geographical conditions, histories, languages, and religions of over 100 countries and areas in the Western region at that time. Most of the contents were what he saw and heard on his journey, which are very important material for research into the geographical and historical conditions in ancient Central and South Asia. Now this book has been translated into many languages and enjoys a worldwide fame. So let's have a look at at Xuanzang's journey to the West. There's a bit of a summary here, I think. In the classic novel Journey to the West, a monk entitled the Tang Priest goes on a pilgrimage to India to fetch the Buddhist scriptures back to China. Together with his disciples, Monkey, Pig and Friar Sand, so three of them, Monkey, Pig and Friar Sand, he overcomes 81 hardships and his mission is successful. The novel is a collection of legends, but in history there really was such a monk. His Buddhist name was Xuanzang. Xuanzang, he was born in 602 and died in 664. So he died at the age of 62. Okay, so Xuanzang 602 to 604 renounced the world and became a monk when he was young. He acquired a good command of the Buddhist classics, and he found that there were a great many errors in the translated Buddhist scriptures. Therefore, he decided to go to Tianzu, today's Indian peninsula, the birthplace of Buddhism, to study and bring back authentic scriptures. Xuanzang started his journey to the West in 627, so he was 25 years old, a bit like Marco Polo, but Marco Polo was even younger. He crossed mountains and deserts, overcoming numerous hardships, and finally reached Tianzu after a journey of a whole year. Let's not forget Tianzu, a good center for many people, and, of course, many cultures as well. Xuanzang studied in Tianzu, today's India, so that's what they called it, and stayed there for as long as 15 years. So he was 22 plus 25, he was 47 by that time. They stayed there for as long as 15 years. 15 years and 22, 37, good age. Rendering homage to his 6 Buddhist holy lands successfully. So he gave the name of the lands that he brought back knowledge for as being this is the land of this person, this is the land of the other, etc. His sincere commitment to Buddhism and unswerving determination moved many Tianzu people. Some kings even sent several people to copy Buddhist sutra for him. In return, Xuanzang introduced them in some Buddhist scripture that had been lost. Xuanzang also learned the language of Tianzu, so he spoke Indian. He also attended huge gatherings concerning Buddhist learning and delivered speeches on many occasions. Xuanzang's erudition won the respect of the Tianzu people. At the age of 42, Xuanzang returned to Chang'an, bringing back 657 Buddhist scriptures. He then commenced the work of translating the Buddhist scriptures. He translated 74 Buddhist scripture altogether, amounting to about 1,305 volumes. Gee, that's a lot. Xuanzang was not only an eminent monk, but also a great translator and an envoy for friendship between China and India. He made great contributions to the development of Chinese culture and for cultural exchanges between China and India and other countries. So Xuanzang was an interesting man. Okay, well, I'm going to stop there and come back to you with it later. Okay, so what I need now is a good drink, and then we'll go to Africa. Now, Africa, I will have done half of Africa today. So let's have a look at the map. Here it is. This is the map. South Africa, we've done Lesotho, Swaziland, Botswana, Namibia, Zimbabwe, Mozambique. We didn't do Madagascar, but we did Malawi, Zambia, and Angola, and Mozambique. Also, Tanzania. Now, today, I wanted to do a bit more, but there's the Democratic Republic of Congo is the big one. I'm just going to do something on him, or on this nation. We live Uganda and Kenya. We did Congo, Gabon, and Equatorial Guinea last time. So really, we'll just leave Kenya and Uganda to do what they can do for the people going into their lanes, really. We'll see what happens there. Okay, and then we'll continue again. The next series will continue the study of Africa. All right? So that's that. Now, I'll just get my information here. The information. Here we go. Okay. The Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, it's called sometimes, is a country in Central Africa, bordered to the west by the South Atlantic Ocean. By area, the DRC is the second largest country in Africa and the 11th largest in the world. With a population of around, well, we won't look at the population, you can look it up, probably about 1.5 to 2 million people. Who knows? 150 to 200 million people. The Democratic Republic of the Congo is the most populous official Francophone country in the world. So this one here speaks French. The national capital and largest city is Kinshasa, which is also the nation's economic center. The country is bordered to the Republic of the Congo, Central Africa, South Sudan, Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, Tanzania, across Tanganyika, Zambia, Angela, and the Caribbean, and the Cabinda exclave of Angola. Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, Tanzania, Zambia, Angola, all names that come up occasionally in the news. Okay, centered on the Congo Basin, the territory of the DRC was first inhabited by Central voyagers around 90,000 years ago. It was reached by the battle expansion and was reached by the Bantu expansion about 3,000 years ago. In the west, the Kingdom of Congo ruled around the mouth of the Congo River from the 14th to the 19th century. In the northeast, center, and east, the kingdoms of Azenda, Luba, and Lunda ruled from the 16th century and 17th century to the 19th century. King Leopold II of Belgium formally acquired rights to the Congo territory in 1885 and declared the land as private property, naming it the Congo Free State. Okay, so that's this king. This king here was a real Leopold II, was a bit of a dictator. Oh well. So he acquired the rights to the Congo territory in 1885 and declared the land his private property. This is all, this nation is mine. That's it. Naming it the Congo Free State. From 1885 to 1908, his colonial military forced the local population to produce rubber and committed widespread atrocities. In 1908, Leopold ceded the territory, which thus became a Belgian colony. So he gave it to Belgium and said, well, it's yours. So that's it. So, there's more. Congo achieved independence from Belgium on the 30th of June 1960 and was immediately confronted by a series of secessionist movements, which culminated in the siege of power by Mobutu Sese Seko. In a 1995 coup d'etat, Mobutu renamed the country Zaire in 1971 and imposed a harsh, personalised dictatorship until his overthrow in 1997 by the First Congo War. So the country then had to its name changed and was confronted by the Second Congo War from 1908 to 1909. And so then it says, talking about population growth, etc. Not going to do that. The war ended under President Joseph Kabila, who governed the country from 2001 to 2019, under whom human rights in the country remained poor and included frequent abuses such as forced disappearance, torture and arbitrary imprisonment, and restrictions on civil liberties. Following the 2018 general election, in the country's first peaceful transition of power since independence by Felix Tshisekedi, who had served as president since 2005, the eastern DR Congo has been the site of an ongoing military conflict in Kivu. I think that's it. There's quite a bit here. But, I don't have, today, I really want to move on with what I'm doing because I want to do some of the broom footage for me. So we'll see how we go. Okay, so that's Congo for you. There's a bit more here. It's very modern. 2 million displaced. See, 2 million children risk starvation. That's in the neighbouring countries. Okay, that's it. So that's that for today. And now we go to before the invasion. What happened to before the invasion? We'll have a drink first, and I'll pick up the book. Here we go. Today I decided, because it's the last day, I decided to do a story called Making the Long Beaches, told by Lami Lami of the Maung people of South Goulburn Island in the Northern Territory. And this is he wrote quite a few stories. And see, these are some of them. Okay. See the long beaches. These long beaches, they say, the Jabiru bird made them. He walked a mile, then he looked back. He walked another mile and looked back again. Then he walked another mile and looked back. And these long beaches, they say, they came because the Jabiru kept walking and looking back. That's why the beaches got longer and longer, but the beaches were all black. But Jabiru had this other little bird following him along. The little bird was called Gulu Widbid. Was called Gulu Widbid. But Jabiru had this other little bird following him along. This little bird we call Gulu Widbid. He's very small, and when he runs, his legs are very quick. This little bird ran along after Jabiru, and as he went, he had a fire stick in his hand. He carried this fire stick, and it brought light, and it turned all the black sand to white. He followed the Jabiru, and where the beaches were long and black, he turned them white. It all became light, and that's why the sands are white. It became light. See the long beaches. That's where Jabiru walked. And the sand is white because Guru Widbid came behind with the fire stick. That's it's more like a legend, really. The Jabiru made the long. Interesting short story. Why the Stars Twinkle. That's another one by Lami Lami, Hmong people of Southern Goulburn Island. I think I'll do this one too. Whoop. Why not? When we are out hunting and at night we sit around a campfire, the old people tell us many stories. Many times as we sit around a fire on a clear night, I have heard this story told when one of the children asks why the stars twinkle. Our people tell this story about the stars. In our Aboriginal customs, we say that the stars are all females. Wow. One time, a lot of women all went out in the bush together to dig some yams. One time, a lot of women all went out in the bush together to dig some yams. These were the long yams that we call garwulug. They are the same yams that the old singer. So that's it. Okay, so these were the long yams that we call garwulug. They are the same yams that the old Naingu singer Bali Balil has made a song about. This is a famous song that people sing, but it is his song because he made it. He's a famous songman and a painter. Well, the story goes, as I said, that these women went out with their digging sticks together, garwulug. They went into the bush and they had to dig and dig. They had to dig about 4 feet down to get these yams. They dug, and some were lucky and others were not. They all came back to their camp and started to cook the yams. Those that had got yams, they got them ready, and when they were finished, they started to eat them. They were eating and chewing away at the yams. The other women who hadn't got any yams said to one another, "What are we going to do? We didn't get any yams." They felt very ashamed that they couldn't get any yams. Then they said, "We will live up in the sky where people will see us." But the other women said, "We want to live up in the sky too, where people can see us." They said, "We will join you in the sky." Suddenly, some magic thing happened and turned all these women into stars. And so now you can see them all up there in the skies. The ones that are still, they are the ones that came back to the camp without any yams. But the ones that twinkle, they are the ones that got yams and they are up there chewing their yams. When you see the stars on a clear night, you can see which were the lucky ones and which were the unlucky. The stars are all women. So these yams, the garwulug, they are a very favourite food of the Aboriginal people. We call them long yams. They are about 45 centimetres long and about 10 centimetres round. You can eat them raw or cooked. You can eat them raw or cooked, and they are very sweet, very nice yams. They grow in the drier country. They grow like a creeper and are ready about October. They are an important food. That's why the old songman made a song about them. I don't know. Well, these are a couple of stories from before the invasion. There you are. And now we'll go to Banjo, Banjo Patterson. Let's have a look where we were last while. Okay. That's Banjo. Banjo is here on the track. On the track. Let's have a look. On the track. On the weary, weary journey on the track, day after day, with sun above and silent veldt below, and our hearts keep turning homeward to the youngsters far away, and the homestead where the climbing roses grow, shall we see the flats grow golden with the ripening of the grain? Shall we hear the parrots calling on the bough? Ah, the weary months of marching, ere we hear them call again, for we are going on a long job now. In the drowsy days on escort, riding slowly half asleep, with the endless line of wagons stretching back, while the khaki soldiers travel like a mob of travelling sheep, plodding silent on the never-ending track, while the constant snap and sniping of the jaw of the foe you never hear. You never hear. Makes you wonder, will your turn come, when and how? As the Mosa ball hums past you like a vicious kind of bee, oh, we're going on a long job now. When the dash and the excitement and the novelty are dead, and you are seeing a lot of wounded once or twice, or you've watched your old mate dying and the vultures overhead, well, you wonder if the war is worth the price. And down along Munara now, they're starting out to shear. I can picture the excitement and I can picture, or you watched your old mate dying with the vultures overhead. Well, you wonder if the war is worth the price, and down along Monaro, now they are starting out to shear. I can picture the excitement and the roar, but they'll miss me on the Lachlan when they call the roll this year, for we are going on a long job now. So this is living, a secure job for one that's far away. Again, shearing comes in the colonial times, sheep. Sheep is not a product of Australia, it comes from Europe. And look how many we've got now. Amazing. Have they taken some of the land from the local animals? Of course. He knocked it. I've settled him. Okay, so this one here is called Rats. You remember Rats? I'll continue from where I left off last week. Last week, the last one was, he knocked me down, but I've settled him. Okay? But look here, said Sunlight, winking at his mates. We saw you jump on him when he was down. That ain't fair, you know. But you didn't see it all, cried Rats, getting excited. He hit me down first, and look here, I'll fight him again for nothing. And you can see first play. They talked a while, then Sunlight proposed as the second, the swag, while his mate supported the old man, and after some persuasion, Milky agreed, for the sake of the lark, to act as a timekeeper and referee. Rats entered into the spirit of the thing. He stripped to the waist, and while he was getting ready, the travellers pretended to bet on the result. Macquarie took his place behind the old man as Sunlight upended the swag. Rats shaped and danced around. Then he rushed, feinted, ducked, retreated, darted in once more, and suddenly went down like a shot on the broad of his back. No actor could have done it better. He went down from that imaginary blow as if a cannonball had struck him in the forehead. So that's the Milky called time, and the old man came up looking shaky. However, he got in a tremendous blow which knocked the swag into the bushes. Several rounds followed with varying success. The men pretended to get more and more excited and better freely, and Rats did his best. At last they got tired of the fun. Sunlight let the swag light Rats. At last they got tired of the fun. Sunlight let the swag lie after Milky. Okay, let's do it. Okay, so I've just some of these stories need to be told all in one go. They planned to hand over the stakes and then went back for their swags while the old man put on his shirt. Then he calmed down, carried his swag to the side of the truck, sat down on it and talked rationally about bush matters for a while. But presently grew silent and began to feel his muscles and smile idiotically. Can you lend us a bit of meat? Said he suddenly. They spared him £1/2, but he said he didn't want it all and cut off about an ounce, which he laid on the end of his swag. Then he took the lid off his billy and produced a fishing line. He baited the hook, threw the line across the track and waited for a bite. Soon he got deeply interested in the line. Jerked it once or twice and drew it in rapidly. The bait had been rubbed off in the grass. The old man regarded the hook disgustedly. Look at that, he cried. I had him, only I was in such a hurry. I should have played him a little more. Next time he was more careful. He drew the line in warily, grabbed an imaginary fish and laid it down on the grass. So, what you think of that? Asked Rats. It weighs 30 pounds if it weighs an ounce. What you think of that for a cod? The hook's halfway down his blessed gullet. He caught several cod and bream while they were there and invited them to camp and have tea with him, but they wished to reach a certain shed next day. So after the ancient had borrowed about a pound of meat for bait, they went on and left him fishing contentedly. But first sunlight went down into his pocket and came up with half a crown, which he gave to the old men, along with some tucker. Yeah. When they turned their heads again, the rats were still fishing, but when they looked back for the last time before entering the timber, he was having another row with his swag, and Sunlight reckoned that the trouble arose of some lies which the swag had him and this last bit is, as Sunlight reckoned that the trouble arose out of some lies which the swag had been telling about the bigger fish it caught. It's a fishy story. Oh, this was hard for me today. It was hard. Anyway, we'll continue when I start again with the history. I'll have a good look at what I've done, and that's it. Now let's go to Broome. That's what, now I have to find where I was last week, and that's important for me. But let me see if I can find it here. My other phone, lucky. I have two phones, and that way I know. Oh yeah, that's I'm live now. I can watch myself. That's unbelievable. That's the beauty of today's world, huh? Here we are. Okay. Good morning. We always. Well, it's the first Thursday. I just want the picture. I don't want anything else. Come on, Tom. Asunda Lombardi, you come. Welcome. Asunda, this is the last program for this series. Number 65 it is. And I've stopped when Christopher Columbus basically discovers America. The discoveries of the 15th century led to a big knowledge of the world, and I thought I'd stop there and continue next time with Series 2, World History Series 2. But for now, I'm trying to get back onto Broome. So let's see if I can get it straight away. Yes, it is. It's here. But where was I last time? There. I'm trying to find there. No, that's not the one. I'm trying to find where we are. That should be easy to find. Wait a minute. Oaks. No. There, here. That's the one here. That's it. I'll start from here. There. I've got it. Except giving me trouble now. Here we are. We're almost there. So Broome, as I said, because this is the end of the series, I will continue and I will revise. Here we are. That's where we are now. That's where we left off last week. So let's continue. I will revise whilst we're watching this. I will talk about the near future. There we are. This was the trip to Broome. Nice town, really. And now, oh, come on, as well with Angela. The personal touch, no? Oh, look at that. It's the baobab tree. I've been going around a bit, so I might do something special for Australia. Look at this. So much to see, really. Look at this. My father was a tailor and used to have a shop in Chinatown. He made a lot of clothes, etc. That's Broome. Oh, what a beautiful tree. I love the trees. We all need our coffee. The Italian touch in Broome. Broome Gallery. There we are. Beautiful place. This is the shopping centre. Bob's shoe store. Good looking. Broome. Bit of history. The cable house. Then more shops. Beautiful. Chimay. Cafe, juice bar, gelato. There you are. Angela's selecting in her element here. Beautiful place. People do a lot of work. Back again into the streets. Carnarvon Street. Yeah, there we are. 100 years of movie magic. I think we came back then at night to watch something. To watch was it the Elvis story? Can't remember now. The world's oldest operating picture gardens. Wow. That's Giuseppe there, his wife, Angela, myself. Gujurangun Sun Pictures. Beautiful. Broome Chinese community. Ocean and Earth. What a beautiful place. That's the little group waiting for the bus. We had a gelato here with this lady, Carl. That's the thing with the buses, you make friends, you travel together for a while. Beautiful. Well, bit of variety there. Gazi Gurjin. That's lovely. Lovely walk. And here I think at night we came to see a spectacular staircase to the moon. Gilir Gun, good shield. Beautiful area. Loved it. Loved it. Loved it. Up. Have to wait. Obviously, you have to wait. There's quite a few beautiful place, Broome. I think it's worthwhile visiting. How are we going? Okay. Well, let's go now. Next one. There we are. The computer needs a rest sometimes. Now, this part here coming up, it's quite interesting. This is the invasion by the Japanese of Broome. There you are. Remembering those times. It is a simple yet something forgotten truth that the greatest enemy to present joy and high hopes is the cultivation of retrospective bitterness. Not worth being bitter about the past. Yeah, this was the war memorial. There you are. And here we met the indigenous people here, the locals. And we had a lovely chat, Angela there. And then the new guy came. There you are. I got into the picture as well. I've got to look after me sometimes, That's the thing. Spectacular, Broome. Shire of Broome, rubbish bin. How beautiful is that? Nice walk, this one. Wow. Happy to be there. Oh, what's going on here? It can't be. Huh? Let me go back. Let's see. No, they didn't come out well. Out of focus. It's unusual. Oh, that's frustrating here. What's going on? We can see there's a problem there. I'm sure the pictures are all right. I'm just checking them through. No, I don't know what's going on here. Let's go back and start again. No. No, the pictures are not coming up. They're not coming up well. They're not clear. What can I do? Sorry, I'm having problems here. What a way to finish my project. Oh dear, dear. What can you do when it's like this? Now we did all right for a while. Let me see this one here. No? Oh, I don't know. I think we're going to call it quits by the looks of it. Let me see. No, they're not coming through. We were having a good time before. No. Here, that's what's happening. They're all like this. I don't understand. See? There's a fog. Out of focus. That's all right. No. Oh, I think what happens is that you need the computer, but it's 12. We'll stop there because it's 12:30. But anyway, I showed you most of the broom. There were quite a few, quite a section that was good. Oh, this is good now. It's fixed itself up. There you are. I'll stop. Look, that's it. We're going to finish there. Okay. Well, this is the end of the Series 1 of World History, and I'll be back with Series 2 sometimes in the future. And don't forget, whenever I come back, I will come back at the same time of 11:25 to 12:30. I will reserve these times, so if you ever want to, catch up with me, just check that I'm on. At this time, and I'll be doing other things as well. Okay, on that note, I want to thank everyone who has come to give me a bit of company when I'm actually doing the podcast. And these are available, as I said, to Insegna.com in the blog section. On YouTube, they will always all be there eventually because I have to put them up. And then also got continued tomorrow with French and Spanish. That I will continue with that. And I will continue with Dante's Dante Purgatorio. Now, at the end of the month, I'll be away for another week, another Sunday, and then there shouldn't be any more. Well, who can tell the future? That's it. But the work that I'm doing is actually continuous. So with the Dante, even if I miss one or two Sundays, it doesn't really matter because the actual presentation of the work is there, okay? And it'll be there once I finish. It's there to be reviewed by anyone, including me. Okay, on that note, grazie mille. Thank you very much to everyone who's been on this journey with me and anyone who will be on this journey with me, because you can use these podcasts to perhaps reflect on the importance of history in our life. Thank you very much. Angela Imola, welcome and goodbye to you all and to Assunta too. In the future, this Thursday, I am now free for the next few weeks at least. Okay, ciao, farewell. This is Tom Padula from TomPadulaTV on YouTube and Insegna Booksellers.